Okay, it's time for one last technique that I'm going to use to show you how to make the flower part of the bluebonnet. But the first thing I want you to do is I printed off a couple of pictures of bluebonnet so that we can look at this shape. Because if you can just find the basic shapes and things, then you can needle felt those shapes to create that idea of the flower that you want. That will make it look like that impressionistic idea of the flower. So looking at my bigger picture here, if you're looking at a flower from the back of the bluebonnet, it's basically a circle for the front part of the bonnet and a oval type shape, a smaller, much smaller oval for the back part. Or think about if you're looking at it from the side, this looks similar to me to the letter D right here. And then this is about the same size from the side, sort of an oval shape again, or maybe a half circle. So we're going to be creating these two shapes when we're trying to make ours. So we're going to use a rolling technique to make this. Also, I just wanted you to look at the general shape of an actual bluebonnet, what it kind of looks like with the flowers around there. I noticed that they're all, to me, if you think about a bonnet, facing in toward the flower. And you can't always see every white part. So we won't always do a white part on every single one. But so let's start with a basic little flower, maybe one similar to this or this over on this side. So to do this technique, you're going to take the fleece and you're going to get just a little bit to start with. You don't want a lot. So if you can see that in my hand, I don't really have much fiber at all. And we're actually going to start the felting process right in our hands. So you're going to roll, oh, I lost mine. You're going to roll that fleece in between your hands. And if you can see, we're already making a little ball, and those, sorry about that, those fibers have started to already felt together right in your hands. So now you're going to take your little ball and decide where you would like it on the stem. So I'm going to start mine pretty low about here, and I think I'm going to put it really close to that stem. So I'm going to start felting kind of that, for this side of the flower, it would be sort of a backwards D, half circle, whatever you want to call it. So I'm going to felt that in there. So I'm going to use my needle to help. I'm going to move it around for the inner part. And then for the outside, you can use those little barbs on your needle to help grab and pull in the sides to shape it into the shape that you want. So there's sort of my backwards D shape. That's what I'm going to call it anyway. So there's that part. And then I'm going to take another piece of fiber, and I don't need a lot. Again, maybe a little bit less than that because the top part of the bluebonnet is a little bit smaller. And again, I'm going to roll that between my hands, get that felting process started. And you may lose it. You'll have to find it if it flies out from between your hands. Here's the second part. So looking at the actual bluebonnet here, here's the backwards D, and then I'm going to make my half circle part just underneath to the lower part of it and to the right side. So I'm going to take this. You do want to be careful you don't get too close to the edge. Still leave a little space for finishing later on when you're going to sew the two parts together. But I'm going to start felting that around the center to get it started. And then I'm going to pull those sides in and get the shape that I want from it. Okay, I think that's pretty good. So it's similar to this shape right here. And now I want to add my little white part. So you're going to do the same technique as the rolling technique. You're going to pull off just a little bit. I don't even know if you can see this in my hand. White fleece and roll it. I would roll this one into a pretty good little ball. Yeah, I got that. So you can see that. And I'm going to just secure that to this top part of my Bluebonnet a little bit more slowly. I think it's a little bit more accurate. You're trying to be where you place it. You don't want it all over the place. So just get that right in there. Use that needle to pull your edges in and make it the shape that you want. Okay, so there's one little flower. And I'm going to stop the camera and add my other flowers so that I can show you the top and final part of felting this. So I'll go ahead and do my others and I'll be back in a minute. Okay, I've mostly finished off my flower. I wanted to remind you that you have two colors of fiber here. I get a better picture. There's the lighter, and then there's this one that's a little bit darker. And you can come in, I came back after I finished making my flowers and just put it just takes the tiniest bit to just shade in areas where you think it would be darker. I kind of just referred back to this picture, and you can see I didn't arrange my Bluebonnets exactly like the picture, but I just used it to see what a flower might look like in this position. So like here, I was kind of looking at this flower. Here, I was kind of looking at this flower. Here, I was looking at this flower. So you can just kind of refer to it. And then as I got to the top, sometimes you have these little flowers that don't have both parts yet. So I kind of just added little shapes up there. But I'm going to take just the tiniest bit of this dark blue fiber and you just kind of stretch it out on the area where you want to shade. This one I didn't want much shading because it's kind of on top, but this one is a little bit behind the other. So I was going to bring that in, and you kind of just want to really spread out those pokes with your needle and get it in that area where you want it to look like it's shaded. And on this one, I don't want to put a ton of extra fiber, so I'm just going to cut that with my scissors and tuck in. You can use your needle to help gather it up, kind of tuck in the rest of this fiber. And if you can see that on the camera, I hope you can see that it's a little shaded there. So then when we get to the very top, you have this part of the flower that is yellow. Kind of, sometimes it's white, sometimes it's yellow. We're going to use yellow, and what we're going to do is use that same not the rolling technique, I'm sorry, the twisting technique to create little balls on top here to represent those. So I'm going to get a little bit of fiber. I'm going to wrap it around to kind of get it started, the end of my needle. And I'm going to come up here at the top and get part of that secured to get it started. And then I'm going to take the rest of that, see if you can see that. I'm going to twist it, but this time I'm going to over twist. Sorry about the shadows here. I'm going to over twist, and so you can see it's starting to twist back on itself. And it's going to make sort of like a little ball. I'm going to take those little loops that I'm making and just secure those down. I'm going to twist it a little bit more. Got my little loops. Secure those down. I can take this and twist the end here. secure that down. It's not going to make like a perfect ball. It's just going to make a little loop. Okay, so it looks like that. So you can finish this and add as many little balls as you want to the top. Looking at this Bluebonnet, it's got several. So I would probably on here, I do about maybe just 3 little balls to finish that off, kind of come to a little point there. And then you're going to be ready to sew it together.